Conflict Theory, Power Struggles, Group 6 by Kelly, Lori, Shanae, and Stephanie. The principles of conflict theory focuses on oppression and inequality. This represents the heart of social work practice, empowering the marginalized in society. Conflict theory also reflects the NASW Code of Ethics due to its focus on social justice and dignity and worth of the person. Conflict theory posits that conflict is inevitable. There is an unequal distribution of power in relationships. There is an ongoing struggle for scarce resources. There are also power differentials. Conflict becomes the engine for social change. In the text, Applying Theory to Generalist Social Work Practice, authors Langer and Leeds inform us that conflict theory is known as a type of perspective. This theory was formed from the idea of Marxism, which was developed by Karl Marx. He believed that economic functions, uneven powers within society influence the way society functions as a whole, institutions and all. Conflict theory identifies uneven powers as material, resources, and politics that influence functioning of society. The principles of conflict theory all influence one another as they encourage change amongst uneven powers between each principle. This then turns into a motivator for social change in society. Conflict theory can be applied in many practice settings. For example, applying conflict theory in a clinical practice, which would be a micro setting, would help one understand the power distribution between yourself as the clinician and your client. To ensure that the working relationship is not affected negatively, it is important that you show your client individualized care. The fight for scarce resources includes clients vying for your time and attention. Managing your time and attention amongst each client whom you serve is very important. Other resources that clients are fighting for include means of transportation and other things such as food boxes. False consciousness is a way of thinking that prevents a person from perceiving the true nature of their economic situation. On the meso level, we apply conflict theory in institutions. An example is through labor exploitation. This refers to the revenue generated by providing services which may become more of a priority than the quality of care. This is perpetuated in institutions by management enforcing productivity of employees despite burnout or client incomes. Another example is the exploitation of immigrant workers who will work in unpleasant jobs for little money in fear of retaliation for legal status. Unionization is one way to overcome the inequality of this power differential. Another example of a practice setting in which conflict theory can be used is in mediation of school bullying. In order to adjust the power differential between the bully and the victim, discipline and limit setting must be imposed. On the larger scale, conflict theory can be used on the macro level through community organization, grassroots efforts, lobbying, or taking political control, through advocacy, skill development of the community, taking collective action, and protesting disparities through strikes or through revolution. One major strength of conflict theory is that it can be applied at all practice levels. On the micro level, conflict theory can be implemented with a vulnerable individual, couple, or family through education, empowerment, and resource implementation. On the meso level, social workers can apply conflict theory with communities, agencies, organizations, and ensuring access to resources and limiting discrimination. On the macro level, systemic barriers created by power disparities impacting policy making are addressed by social workers. There are a few limitations of conflict theory. Conflict theory can be difficult to implement due to its lack of having a step-by-step process. Conflict theory can also be difficult to measure. There is limited evidence-based practice information due to the nebulous application of conflict theory. Conflict theory is utilized with multiple diverse populations. In race and ethnicity, conflict theory illuminates oppression and injustice in our borders, as well as discrimination with employment, education, neighborhoods, the justice system, politics, and the media within our Native American and African American communities. In gender, sexual exploitation, lack of representation in various occupational positions or fields, and wage differences continue to be issues of concern for women. In class conflict, the wealthy exert power and control over the working class. Members of the LGBTQ group don't have the same privileges as heterosexuals, such as systemic discrimination related to employment, obtaining resources, and being denied rights such as gay marriage, hospital visitation, and insurance coverage.